and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. It is wonderful to be here and an honor. It's my honor to be with you. I'm going to dive right in. Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw once said, "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." Before we get started, I'd love for each of you to think about the change that you're experiencing in your life right now, big or small. I'm going to give you a second, because I know you're all going through it in some way. Adapting to change in life can be tough and stressful, but it can also be incredibly rewarding. Tonight, I've chosen the topic of adaptability because being adaptable in your career, in your relationships, and in life are critical. And I'd like to say that that is something I've worked on my entire life, is adaptability. So I consider it to be a quality that has helped me progress through life. Without adaptability, I wouldn't have made a lot of the decisions that I made that have led me here tonight. And most importantly, I wouldn't be pursuing projects with purpose, which is what I'd love to share a little bit with you tonight. Two projects that I'm currently engaged in, the documentary film series, and also making a documentary, both of which I'm doing with my husband, who is going to be wandering around with this very large camera taking pictures all night. It was only 1 year ago, after experiencing a lot of change, self-imposed change, and also a lot of change that none of us can avoid in life, that I figured out my magic formula. But I could only figure this out because I can adapt, or at least I'm still learning to adapt. Tonight, I'd like to discuss 3 topics and give you examples from my life to help guide the discussion. The first topic is reacting to change. And the example I'd like to use from my own life, I'll paraphrase so that we can all maybe think about this as I start going into this topic. How would you react to a major managerial change in a company that you started? One that ultimately led to your resignation. The second one is embracing change. How would you handle it if someone told you that your best friend was diagnosed with a terminal illness? And finally, and this is my favorite, creating change. What would you do if you have worked 5, 10, 15, 20, for some of us 30 years in your career and realized one day that you needed more meaning? We spend so much time working every day. Don't you want more meaning and intention in what you do? These are the topics I'm going to explore tonight. Charles Darwin once said, "It is not the strongest or the most intelligent who will survive, but those who can best manage change." We are wired to resist change. What do you think is the #1 resistance to change? Anyone want to call it out? Fear. That's right. Fear of the unknown, fear of a change in stability, fear of being connected to the old way and having to change that. We love stability, we love comfort. But according to Dr. Ken Gibson, author of Unlock the Einstein Inside, adapting to change actually increases your brain power. Neuroscientific research indicates that experience can actually change both the brain's physical structure and its functional organization. Neuroscientists are currently engaged in studies that demonstrate that the brain does not stop developing at a certain age, but that unexpected stimuli actually causes our brain to change. So the good news is, we can change the way our brains operate. And therapist and psychologist Dr. Robert S. Gill suggests that we think of change as a software upgrade. Pretty smart, right? I haven't updated my iPhone yet, but I need to, because I've heard there's a lot of great new functionality on it. And if we change our perspective of this resistance to change to a software upgrade, maybe we would all be a little less resistant, right? So when I'm looking at an example in my own life, this concept of a managerial change which leads to your resignation. During my senior year here at Westminster, I started an internet company with my brothers. And the company over several years grew, and it grew very fast. And so we decided, because we were in our early to mid-20s, all of us, there were 40 of us, that we needed to bring in executive management. We needed experience. And what we determined with that team is that we needed to downsize. But my dreams were growth and expansion for the company. I had already started developing an internet marketing division in San Francisco, and that was the first to go. Marketing is the first to go, Nancy. It is, and you taught me that. And this is exactly what happened. And so I was at a crossroads. I could stay at this company, which I loved, where I had stability, where I had a salary, where I had comfort, or I could move on and resign. And I could grow from this. I could actually adapt and grow. And so that's what I did. And when I walked out that door, I had no idea what was going to happen. But I knew that if I took this leap, I would grow. And I did. Growth can be brought on by responding to change. So in essence, I had my first career software upgrade at age 26. The second topic is embracing change. And this is a difficult one, and I've posed a very challenging question for some of you. How would you handle it if your best friend was diagnosed with terminal illness? It's worth here considering change in our lives that can devastate, because none of us will escape this devastation, none of us. Our brain hates loss more than anything. Anything that we are emotionally attached to, it does not want to change. In 2012, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. Not only did everything change for me in an instant, but I questioned almost everything in my life. How could I possibly accept this? How could I possibly move on? She was my best friend. I had to embrace her illness. I had to fight with her, and we did. We fought tooth and nail. And her passing just 10 months after taught me a lot. And mostly, it told me that I need to figure out a new way. This big change in my life became my compass. Rather than resisting it and being angry, I let it guide me to new places. Because if I hadn't, I would have given up on a lot. I don't think any of us can successfully confront change like that without the ability to adapt. I had to analyze, to realign, to discover new strategies, new strengths within myself, and rely deeply on the people around me. And it's still an ongoing process, but tragedies are going to happen. And if you start flexing your brain muscles now, think of how much better it will be when you come to these crossroads in life. So start those software upgrades. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, "A wise man adapts himself to circumstances, as water shapes itself to the vessel that contains it." Now, my last topic is my favorite, creating change and making change. And I love how Patricia Ryan Madsen, an author, summed it up. If something isn't to your liking, change your liking. And I love this one. It puts you in the driver's seat. It's a very proactive way to view the world. And the last example is, what would you do if after many, many years of honing your craft and your skills, you woke up one day and said, I need a little bit more meaning in what I'm doing. I need to utilize all of my strengths and my experience and my education for good, not just the bottom line. Just 1 year ago, I started heading into this new self-imposed change. I started creating change in my life, and I discovered my magic formula. And again, that means to me being able to combine my career, my experiences, my skill, but most importantly, my passions together, to intersect all of these to making the world a better place. And that is what I've dedicated myself to now, are these purpose-driven projects. This year, my husband and I successfully started and launched a documentary film series that has raised almost $60,000 in its first run for charity, including foundations that support children with autism, music education programs for underprivileged in our community, and right now, as I speak, we are fully funding a music and memory program at our Senior Living Community Center, which addresses the needs of those with dementia and Alzheimer's. And I'm also pursuing my lifelong dream of making a documentary. And hopefully one day you'll get to see it. The Dalai Lama once said, "A new way of thinking has become the necessary condition for responsible living and acting. If we maintain obsolete values and beliefs, a fragmented consciousness, and a self-centered spirit, we will continue to hold on to outdated goals and behaviors." I challenge you all to respond to change, not resist it. Consider change a software upgrade. I challenge you to embrace change. Use it as your compass. Let it guide you, because you will come up against many, many things in life that are unpredictable. And finally, I challenge you to change, to create it, to create change, so that you can figure out your magic formula and realize and actualize your full potential. I'm going to leave you tonight with the words of Jack Welch: "Change before you have to." Thank you.